And hello, my friends. Happy Wednesday. It's September 6th, 2023. It's 7:01 p.m. Central U.S. Time, 8:01 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Rob Booker, and I will be your host for this evening's session. So, how's your trading going? Are you having a good September so far? Are you having a good year so far? The market is about to heat up big time. So, the summer doldrums are over. And we've seen just so much volatility in the market, even in just the last 48 hours. And it seems like everybody's back from all those family vacations, and they're back, and the kids are in school, and all the Wall Street traders are back at work, and they're back on the trading desk, and volume is up, trading activity is up, volatility is up. So this is a perfect time to get yourself back in business and back to trading on a regular basis. And so if you've taken like a little mini hiatus from trading, or if your summer was really busy, or if trading just hasn't gone exactly the way that you might have hoped over the course of the last, few months or whatever, this is a really, really good time to learn the strategy that I'm going to teach you tonight. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a methodology that we use inside the Tim Sykes Challenge. And I'm going to share with you the complete strategy. I'm going to show you a little bit about how that strategy works. I'm going to discuss sort of why that strategy is working in particular right now. And then if you want to, I'm going to invite you to trade together with me and Tim Sykes inside the Tim Sykes Challenge. So there's a lot of good stuff coming tonight in the presentation. We are live here on September 6th. It's just after 7 p.m. Houston, Texas time. And wherever you are, and no matter what you're up to, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're excited to learn a trading system and do some work together. There's a whole bunch of you here tonight, so I'm excited to spend some time with you. Listen, we're going to start off with a mini masterclass, and this is a really important topic that we've got to cover, because right now in the market, things are a little bit more volatile than they have been, and chaos is on the way, and you can take advantage of it. So nothing that I'm about to say is going to be like the sky is falling type of presentation, but it is going to be sort of the sky is about to fall presentation. So there's going to be some market corrections here, and a lot of people don't really understand what that means. But what it essentially means is we're entering a time when the 2024 election is already kicking off, and political opponents are suing each other, they're indicting each other, they're investigating each other's families. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates too far, which they always do. They always move too far. And so the markets have gone into sort of a corrective phase. The job market seems strong right now, but that's sort of the red herring, the thing that they want you to look at. But tonight we're going to look at the way things really are. And I'm going to share with you the number one indicator of a recession that exists. It's been right every single time. And I'm going to share with you how you can take advantage of the coming chaos and volatility in the market. So everything that I'm about to say is meant to sort of express the following. Just because the market is about to take a dip, just because the market is about to correct a little bit, doesn't mean you can't make any money. In fact, it can be the most profitable time for the traders who are the most ready. So recently, Fitch, the ratings agency, downgraded the U.S. debt. And that's because the U.S. is now spending a greater percentage of its gross domestic product than ever before on the interest on the debt. Imagine you had a neighbor that was spending 20% of their monthly income just to pay the minimum payments on their credit card. You would absolutely not want to lend your neighbor any money, because your neighbor would be in trouble. And Fitch knew that. And Fitch also knew that there was no way in the world that the U.S. government was going to downgrade or start to reduce the social programs in the country, right? And there's just like the people who fund the military don't want to reduce the military budget, and the godless tax raising liberals don't want to like remove the social programs. Everybody feels like their one program is the most important thing. And you know what politicians in Washington care about the most? We could do a little quiz here, but I know you already know the answer to this. They care about walking the hallways of Congress and doing some insider trading. That's what they love the most. The government is no longer really involved in trying to solve problems, if you haven't noticed, and I'm sure you have. And the Fed is just so behind the curve all the time. In every single interest rate cycle in history, whether it's higher rates or lower rates, the Fed always goes too far. The Fed always either raises rates for too long or lowers rates for too long, and they push the economy on the brink every single time they do this stuff. And you might think it might be due to the fact that the Federal Reserve is maybe I don't know, influenced by big business? Of course it is. Absolutely. And so, do you ever feel like the whole game is rigged? Do you ever feel like maybe the entire market structure is kind of rigged? Yeah, maybe it is. And so, it's time for you and I to take back control over this stuff. Because, listen, are we going to try to convince politicians in Washington to stop indicting each other or investigating each other and get down to the business of running the country? No, they're not going to listen to us. I mean, you don't have a very good chance of convincing politicians in Washington to listen to what we're saying here. So we can either try to get them to listen to what we're saying, or what we could do is we could take matters into our own hands and we could start doing better as traders in order to get the kind of results that we're looking to get. Now, Wall Street's top recession gauge, the yield curve, is signaling one of the biggest warning signs that it has ever signaled before. When the yield curve inverts, that is a sign that interest rates have flipped, and interest rates are now no longer incentivizing long-term thinking. Everybody's so worried about what might happen in the short term, and that's exactly what we don't want to have happen. It causes everything to grind to a halt. So if we go to the charts, for example, you can see Apple. This is a really good example of what happens when interest rates go up too high, too fast. Stuff that people buy that requires credit cards, those kinds of things dip. So Apple reported in its last earnings report that it made $10 billion in profit and $50 billion in revenue, which sounds great, right? That sounds amazing. Well, the problem was that Apple admitted that they had sold fewer iPhones. And that may continue to be the trend until they maybe launch the new one. And even when they launch the new one, really, what's it going to have? Like a new color, right? What's it going to really have? The reason Apple dipped is that when you have to put all these expenses on your credit card and your credit card interest rate payment goes up, people stop spending as much money on their credit card. The same is true of Tesla. Tesla took a dip also for the following reason. In order to buy a car, you need to take out a loan most of the time. Well, loans are way more expensive than ever before. The Wall Street Journal recently reported that default rates on car loans are at an all-time high. Nobody's really talking about that right now, right? They're talking about, this is what I'm saying. The people that control all of this stuff, and I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist. I just mean the reality is that the people with the most amount of money are going to make the rules. And those people know that when interest rates go up, these companies dive. Now, what do trillionaires and billionaires and supergiant millionaires, what do they do when some of the highest quality companies that make the most amount of money, what do they do when the stock is falling? What do you think Warren Buffett does when the world's most profitable company starts to drop in price? And if you guessed he starts to buy it, you're absolutely right. Warren Buffett has actually said, I love it when the stocks and the companies that I own, I love it when they go down. Now that sounds really odd, but it's not. He knows that in the long term, these companies make so much money that they're going to do just fine. And he knows that in the long term, the Fed's going to overshoot the target, start to lower interest rates, and people are going to buy a whole lot of iPhones and virtual reality goggles and Macs and computers and whatever else. And so in the coming months, especially over the course of the next 30 to 60 days, when you see some turmoil hit the markets, and when you see the stocks that are most sensitive to interest rates, the big purchase items, the durable goods, the cars, the computers, the really expensive items that people purchase, the things that people buy to put in their homes, because people are buying fewer homes now. And mortgage applications are down to the lowest rate they've been in a long, long time. And people aren't buying as many homes because interest rates are high and it's just more expensive to do it. So this dip in the markets that is coming is going to produce some of the best buying opportunities that we've seen in 3 years and maybe ever. And if you missed Tesla at $100, okay, that's fine. If you missed the 2020 rebound, okay, that's fine. We don't have a time machine. Well, we kind of do, because history does repeat itself. Mark Twain once said, actually, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And that's so true. We're never going to see the same exact opportunity to buy Tesla at $100. And we're never going to see the exact same circumstances of the 2020 rebound when the market gave the best buying opportunity of all time. Did you know that Bruce Ackman of hedge fund fame, did you know that Bruce Ackman, he made over $1 billion in the COVID crash? They said one night he went to sleep. He went to bed. He couldn't fall asleep. And so look this guy up, Bruce Ackman. Bill Ackman, excuse me. So Bill Ackman, hedge fund fame, Pershing Square Capital. And he went to bed and he couldn't fall asleep. and COVID was spreading around the world, and he had heard that what's that city in China? Oh, that's right, Wuhan. He had heard that the whole city had shut down and that they were like concreting people inside of their apartment buildings and stuff like that. And he said, man, if anybody's even on an airplane from China right now. And he got out of bed, he went into the office, and the next day they started shorting all kinds of companies, and they had $1 billion from that trade. And then he went on CNBC, and I know I'm getting, this is a great story, because this is one of my favorite stories all time best call in the market. Bill gets on TV, and he starts almost crying on television on CNBC. I'm not joking. And he's saying, this is going to be the biggest bloodbath ever, and everybody around the world is missing the point, and this is going to be a pandemic. Do you know what he was doing that day? He was buying stocks. The Chaos Kings is a brand new book by a Wall Street Journal reporter who reliably reports that on that same day, he was buying stocks. He made over $1 billion on the rebound. You see, most people, when the stock market is dropping, they're panicking. And most people, when the stock market recovers, they miss the entire rebound. They just don't see the big picture. And so one of the reasons that I'm here tonight with you is to help you see the big picture. Now, I don't know if you like this macroeconomic conversation, but I love this stuff. And I love this stuff because it gets you ready. And is anybody else getting you ready for Apple to fall another 10 or 15%? Is anybody really getting you ready to look at a price at which Apple becomes a screaming great buy trade? Because what's going to happen when Apple falls to that level is nobody except for Bill Ackman and Warren Buffett is really going to be pulling the trigger on it. Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's investing partner, bought Wells Fargo at the exact low price. I think it was either $34 a share. He bought it at exactly the very lowest price that it went during the financial meltdown in 2010 at the very bottom, 2010, 2000. He bought it at the very, very bottom. He was like, this is a bank that has zillions of customers and stuff, but nobody prepares you for that. And it's just most of the time, it's these billionaires that are brave enough to enter trades at those moments. So when Apple gets into the 164s, the 160s, Apple's going to be a screaming buy trade. But you know what's going to be happening? People are going to be running around with their pants at their legs and with their head on fire, running around in circles. And they're not going to be thinking about that. They're going to be wondering if the world is falling apart completely. And when Apple goes to $156 a share, which is a very reliable magnet and target for price, which is another 10% lower from where we are right now, you might find some of the greatest buying opportunities that are even better than the last time around. So if you missed Tesla at $100, if you missed the 2020 rebound, listen, you're going to get a chance. Now, if I could start all over again and learn how to trade. I started 23 years ago. If I could do that, I would get help way sooner from a Millionaire trader. I waited 11 months after my biggest loss when I first started trading 23 years ago. I waited 11 months. And during that time, I could have been buying stocks. I could have been taking great trades. But nope, I was trying to figure it out on my own. And the problem is when you trade in a vacuum and when you trade by yourself, we all know this, it doesn't really go that well. And if I were starting out today, I would raise my hand and say, I want to be in the Tim Sykes challenge right now. And the reason I would say that is Tim Sykes is a proven educator of millionaire traders. He's kind of like a millionaire maker. Although I don't love that phrase, it is actually true. I just don't like the alliteration or something about it. I don't know. I would tell people I would raise my hand right now and say, I want to be in the Tim Sykes challenge. What that means is I want to be in the Tim Sykes program where he teaches people the strategies that made him millions of dollars and the same strategies that made other people millions of dollars. Think about it. If you had a chance to sit around and trade with millionaires right now, every single day together, you wouldn't be afraid of what's going on in the markets. You wouldn't be caught off guard when the market starts to dip. And you won't be. I mean, you're already going to be better prepared. When the market goes through the day of its crash in the next 60 days or so, when it happens, you're going to go, oh man, I'm really glad I was in that webinar. At least it won't be a surprise to you. And at least you'll be able to see it. And at least you'll be able to understand it in context. That every once in a while, the market crashes. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. Every single market does it. But it's okay that it does it. And it ends. It stops. And then the market rebounds. So I don't want you to miss what might be one of the greatest buying opportunities of your lifetime. Now, part two is more good news. Every day, no matter what's going on, there are great stocks to buy. Look at AAOI or LGHL or DLO or BGLC or NBSE today. AAOI, it dipped and then it just ripped upward. Or LGHL, it dipped and then it ripped upward. Or DLO, it ripped upward. Or BGLC. On a day when some of the stocks in the stock market were having a really bad day, and when a lot of people thought, oh, look at Home Depot or look at Amazon, everybody, television was telling people to look at the wrong stuff. What we do in the Tim Sykes Challenge is I run a morning webinar, and the morning webinar is called the 922 AM Club. I can remember how to type, I promise. And inside of the 922 AM Club, we trade these stocks together. We watch for the breakouts, and then we trade those breakouts, and then we ride those breakouts higher. I'm going to teach you a strategy that you can put to work tomorrow morning. And you can put it to work tomorrow morning on stocks like VERB. So here's an alert for tomorrow. VERB and NBSE. Now we'll take a look at these charts in just a moment, and I'll break down those charts for you, and I'll share with you exactly why those trades might be some of the really good ones. And we'll do that. If you hang on and you stay here until the end, we're going to do a whole lot of that. But I want to lay the groundwork and I want to lay the foundation for teaching you this strategy. So we trade a breakout strategy. And here's what I mean by that. What we do in the morning is we look at the after-hours session the night before and the pre-market session on that morning. The pre-market session starts at 4 a.m. Eastern time, and it goes all the way to 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. And what we'll do is we'll look for the highest high that a stock went in the pre-market session. And we draw a line across that level. And here it is. So there's the line. And then we're going to do something so simple that most people would never even think to do it. We trade a breakout from beyond that level. As soon as price breaks through that level, even if it is during the pre-market session, that's a buy trade for us. Now we look at low float, high volume stocks, which means these are stocks that are trading for usually under $5 a share, which means every single one of us here tonight could trade those shares. And we look for stocks that have a low supply of shares. That's referred to as float. Float refers to the total number of available shares that a company has. The lower the float, the more potential there is for a stock to zoom upward. Because if something is in short supply and everybody in the world wants it, it's going to go up. Now, feel free to ask me any question you want. We are here live on Wednesday, September 6th. So if you want to ask me a question, we can definitely try to cover whatever question you have. And I'm going to go full screen here on the charts. And I'm going to open this up to anybody who wants to ask some questions about it. So now, for those of you that think, oh man, I would love to trade with you. So inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge, we trade this together every day. We trade together. It's called the 922 AM Club. And I'm actually going to post a link here. Don't click on this link yet unless you want to reserve a call ahead of everybody else. unless you're the kind of person that likes to get ahead of everybody. So I'm going to post this link right here, just so I don't have to worry about it later. Okay, so it's in the chat box. Now I can see all your comments. The chat box is private, so you can't see each other's comments right now. And we're going to open that up so you can all talk to each other and say hello to each other in just a bit. We are live, and I'm super happy to be here together with you. So I'm going to look at another screen, and let's look at another chart here. Look at LGHL and AAOI for that matter. So AAOI, using the strategy that I'm talking about right here, we take a line and we draw it across the highest high that the stock went in the pre-market session, and then we trade it when it breaks out from beyond that high. That's just a breakout trade. And when we talk about highs of the day, we use the, if you've ever seen people write this, they write HOD, or they'll write PMH. HOD stands for high of the day, and PMH stands for pre-market high. So we're looking for breakouts from beyond that level. LGHL did it. DLO did it. I mean, DLO, you can actually see the line that we used on DLO. It's right here. We used the high of the session in the after-hour session. And then we had another earlier entry on the highest high from the pre-market session. So there's two entries on this chart. And when those breakouts occur, it's a really great sign that lots of traders are interested in buying the stock all at the same time. and we're just doing what everybody else thinks is a good idea, and we're following along with the crowd. So can you trade those? Yeah, absolutely. Is there a way to even trade those earlier? Yeah, absolutely, yes. Even if the market dips, even if the market crashes, there's going to be great stocks, and you can find them with me if you want. So let's talk about buying these stocks even earlier than what I just talked about. Here's how to do it. This is the challenge, dip, and rip. This is a strategy that we use inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge, and I'm the leader of the morning trading group. And so I trade together with members of the challenge. So once again, a member of the challenge refers to a student just like you from all walks of life, retired, working a 9-to-5 job, a student-aged person, whatever it is, single parent, or like even like husband and wife teams do the challenge together. And the challenge is a year-long or lifetime access program where you get the education and the strategies and the lessons teaching you the trading systems that Tim Sykes used to turn $12,000 into $7 million, and the same systems that he taught to Tim Grittani and Jack Kellogg. The top 30 students in the Tim Sykes Challenge have made a combined, it's more than $50 million in profits, all verified profits. So the program, the challenge, is an educational program that contains the lessons that you need to learn the strategies. And we're kind of going over those lessons right now. So you're kind of getting a preview of that right now. Plus, the challenge includes live trading webinars every day with me, every day with Tim Bowen, and a couple times a week with other millionaire traders like Jack Kellogg and Mark Crook and Ellis Hobbs, who actually played football with Tom Brady and now is a trader. It's just all kinds of really cool stuff. So that's the challenge. So when I refer to the challenge, that's all I'm talking about. And it's not right for everybody, by the way. It's not right for everybody. It's really only for those of you that know you want to get some feedback on your trades and you want to really take it super seriously. Like you want to turn this into a profession as opposed to a hobby. Okay, let's take a look at Yell. Now, Yell was big news at the very beginning of August, and it's a perfect example of the dip and rip. Now, dip and rip trades happen every single day. In fact, I've become something of a connoisseur of these trades, and this is a really great way to teach you this strategy right now. So if you want to, it's a great time to take some notes or even take some screenshots of the charts that we're looking at here as we go through. Now, Yell's a really interesting example because Yell decided to announce that they were on the verge of declaring bankruptcy on July 31st, July 30th, 31st. And so at the beginning of August, Yell dropped. No, actually it didn't. At the beginning of August and the end of July, Yell moved up 400%. Now, why would a stock and a company that is about to declare bankruptcy go up? Here's the deal. Remember what I told you? Millionaires and billionaires think about the market differently. They looked at Yell and they realized Yell was sitting on top of a real estate empire, trucking depots and hard assets. But the real estate alone, they said, was worth probably over $1.5 billion. And Yell only is in quotation marks, only had $1.5 billion of debt. So these millionaires and billionaires realized that if they bought some Yell stock, they might actually be able to get a lot of money out of the final bankruptcy deal. Because after all, the creditors were paid, the shareholders would get paid. And so the stock ran up 400%. Now, a lot of us missed the initial move higher. That 400% move seemed suspicious and weird. Why would a bankrupt company be having a stock that goes up? The challenge dip and rip gives you a second chance to take a trade on that. Now, of course, we want to get the first trade if we can. But if you've ever missed a trade on a stock that jumped up, did you get NBSE today? I know Eric did. Eric's here in the webinar with us tonight. And did you get VERB yesterday? If you missed some of those trades, the challenge dip and rip is going to give you a chance to trade those on their next move higher. For the challenge dip and rip strategy, we identify a stock that moved 100% or more. Then we wait for the pullback and then we buy the reversal dip. So the challenge dip and rip is happening. Everything important is happening inside of that red circle where the arrow is pointing. That's your sweet spot. And here's how to trade it. And by the way, the trick is to not get stuck in that stock. We only want to trade that stock and hold it for a maximum of about 24 hours. And this is it, my friends. Instead of only trading when the stock breaks out higher, we can trade it on the dip. The green arrow that you see in the middle of the chart where the arrow is pointing, that's a dip and rip indicator. Now, that's an indicator I built that I shared with members of the Tim Sykes Challenge. And as we trade together in the mornings, we take a look at that. That is simply an indication that a stock that has jumped upward in the last few days has now fallen and is ready to emerge and break out again. It's all part of the Tim Sykes 7-step framework. And it's kind of like the second impulse move. A stock will jump up, come down to rest, and then jump up again. And it's a pattern that repeats itself over and over and over and over again. You see, I figured something out. We could trade these together every single morning. We could expand on this. We could do this together. We could even look at one more. So we're going to look at another chart or 2 or 10 before we finish up here tonight. So why are you here? What were you looking to get out of this presentation? Some of you came here to get a stock idea, like a trade idea for tomorrow. We'll definitely cover that. We're going to look at N as in Nancy, B as in boy, S as in Sam, E. So NBSE. We're going to look at that stock tonight. We're also going to look at Verb because it was a mover 2 days ago, and it's probably primed and ready to jump up again, at least a little bit. So why are you here? Was it to get a stock idea? Because we're going to do that. But what else were you here for? Do you have some goals? Are you finally ready to take your trading more seriously? Have you thought in the back of your mind, gosh, I'd love to just be really confident about every single trade that I take? Because if that's the case, that's exactly how I felt 23 years ago. I wanted more confidence in my trades, and I wanted to know that when I pulled the trigger on a trade, I was doing the right thing. So let me know, what are you struggling with the most in your trading, or like in the process of starting to trade? Because I'm here tonight for you. I'm not here to make any money off of you. In fact, it's not going to change my life one way or the other if you become a member of the Tim Sykes Challenge. Oh, actually, that's not true. It will. It'll make my life better. I do want you to be a member of the Tim Sykes Challenge. It's a way for us to work together every single day. But I'm here tonight to introduce your life more than anybody else's. So if you're struggling in your trading with entries, with exits, or holding on to bad trades, or just identifying the right stock to trade every single day, please share that with me in the chat. And we'll talk about that at the end. We'll do some Q&A. I've actually reserved some time in this presentation tonight for you to just ask me questions about my trading career or about money or whatever else. So welcome. I'm happy you're here. My name is Rob. I'm here on behalf of my friend Tim Sykes. Now, Tim is the trader who turned $12,415 into over $7 million. And Tim's famous for doing this. You've probably seen him on social media. You're probably here in this webinar tonight because you probably heard about Tim Sykes, and you trust that if somebody did something that made $7 million, it's probably good enough for you to do too. And that's absolutely 100% correct. Tim's not just a great trader. He's actually become great at educating other traders and teaching them his strategies. And that's why he's got so many millionaires inside the Tim Sykes Challenge, people from all walks of life. Glenn Peters was raising a family and working a 9-to-5 job and decided he wanted something more. And he joined the Tim Sykes Challenge. Tim Sykes mentored him, and Glenn was able to do over $1 million in profits over the course of the next 13 or 14 months. Or Matt Monaco was a college student with a $2,000 account. He knew he wanted a better life. He didn't just want to work for somebody else for the rest of his life. Inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge, Matt Monaco turned $2,000 into over $2 million. Or maybe you can take Jack Kellogg for an example. He was parking cars for a living, but wanted to be a trader. He started with a $2,000 or $3,000 account, saved up his money, added another $10,000 to that account. That's now a $12 million trading fortune. How do these traders do that? They got the education from someone who'd already done it. They learned the right strategies to trade, and then they got feedback on the trades they were taking inside of live webinars. This is the really cool thing about it. People from all walks of life. Tim Grattani is the second most profitable trader from the Tim Sykes Challenge. He started with $1,500 in 2015. He saw Tim Sykes on social media. He reached out to the team. I'm going to introduce you to the team in just a minute. Thielman and Rich and Chase and James. He reached out to the team and he said, I'd like to work with Tim. And they built a trading plan together. They built a blueprint. They built a plan. Like, you are here now. This is where you want to go. And they said, you know, you're perfect for working with Tim. You're ready to work hard. You're ready to do the work. You're ready to learn the strategies. Tim Grattani started with $1,500. He's sitting on top of an $18 million trading fortune now. The rumor is, inside of the company, the rumor is it's actually 21 million, but nobody knows for sure. Like, once you get over 20 million bucks, you're probably going to want to keep some of your finances a secret. I get it. I totally get it. And this is Mari here in Italy with Tim Sykes. Tim Sykes took a bunch of his top students and millionaires on a trip to Italy. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? They went to Italy, they hung out, they recorded a bunch of videos and lessons for other traders and aspiring millionaires. Mari was in college and just sort of like plugging along in the regular old life that everybody thought she should live. And she wanted to be a trader. She came to a presentation similar to this one, and she said, yeah, I'm going to raise my hand here. I want to be a part of the challenge. And she might be exactly like you. You might be exactly the same kind of person. Like, all right, I want to have success. I want to do this confidently. And so she applied for the challenge. She built a trading plan with the experts. And then she said, yeah, I want to trade with Tim. And she's one of the, I think she was millionaire number 28, 27. So she was like the 27th millionaire in the Tim Sykes challenge. And what these two traders did was they found out about Tim Sykes through a webinar like this or social media. They saw Tim's like super famous for having turned a small account into a giant account. They know that his profits are verified, and they know that he gives all this money to charity. He gives all of his profits from trading away to charity. And so these traders said, okay, I trust Tim. I know the strategy works because he turned, this account and he's taught other people. So they said, I want to get into the challenge. So they joined the Tim Sykes challenge. They got a set of rules and a proven system, and they got into webinars with real traders, millionaire traders, who sort of on the side, just like me, sort of in the mornings, I'm going to do my trading anyway. Might as well do it with a bunch of people there. And that keeps me set on my rules. And then they scaled up their trade size. So lots of these traders started with $1,000 or $2,000, and then they grew their account to $2,000, and then up to $3,000, and then up to $5,000, and then up to $10,000. It's all just like gradual, right? You think about the final result is like $18 million, but they all had to start somewhere. And it's all just about compounding and growing an account. But it starts with the raising of the hand, so to speak, saying, all right, I want to do this. I want to be in the challenge. I think I want to do this. And they started by building a trading plan. So I'm going to do my best to get to your questions. I'm going to look at those in just a moment. I'm going to give everybody a chance to say hello to each other in the chat also. And we're going to look at some live charts for tomorrow. My story is really brief. I started trading in the year 2000. I had started a business with a college friend of mine. That friend had actually proposed to my sister, Amy, and my sister had said no. And she had said to me, I just felt like something was wrong. And I was like, okay. And I didn't really worry about it. I started a company with that guy because he was a really ambitious and hardworking and ingenious dude. Well, a couple of years later, he fled the country, left me with $200,000 in debt, a tax liability that I paid off, and on the verge of bankruptcy. And I turned to trading. I figured, well, you know what? I got one last shot at this. And so I kind of Eminem 8-miled it, right? I had my student loan debt from law school. I had the business debt from my business partner fleeing the country. He literally went to Uruguay, which did not have and probably still doesn't have an extradition treaty to the U.S. I mean, literally just fled the country. And I was either faced with bankruptcy or trading my way out of trouble. So if you've ever had your back against the wall, or if anybody has left you in a financial position that was worse than where you started, or if anybody's ever like sort of things didn't work out the way you might have hoped, I know exactly what that feels like. A lot of the traders in the Tim Sykes challenge who became millionaires know exactly what you're talking about. And I lost my first account with my back against the wall. I lost my first $2,500 account and I was out of money. And my friend Terry Larson, we went to church together, and he offered to introduce me to a hedge fund manager, a guy named Thomas who lived in Switzerland. And this is in the year 2001 almost. And I had gone through months and months and months of just losing money and trying to figure it out. And I just lost my confidence. And so I got on the phone with Thomas, this hedge fund manager, and we did a phone call. We did a strategy session. And he said, all right. And he talked me through sort of everything that I was doing wrong. And Thomas managed, it was at the time probably $1.5 million for my friend Terry Larson. Maybe he started with $750K. Anyway, Thomas was a deca millionaire. He's worth tens of millions of dollars. And he goes, I'm not going to, I'll work with you. I can't hire you. You don't live in Switzerland. And he said it with a German accent. I'm not going to try to impersonate it. But he said he would work together with me if I paid him. And so he said it would be $10,000. And I thought, this is the worst. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this. Terry, my friend, lent the money to me. I paid him back that year with 10% interest. And Thomas, the hedge fund manager, taught me how to trade. I look back on that now. It's like if I hadn't lost that first account, I never would have met my mentor. I never would have struggled. And I probably would have just like slowly dropped off and quit trading or something like that. But the initial loss was the thing that opened the path to me. And you might think, well, $10,000, that's a lot of money. 23 years later, Every single great thing in my life, all the cars I've had or trips that I've taken or the time that I had with my kids because I was a trader, came because I learned to trade from someone who knew what they were doing. It was so worth that money. It was such, I mean, I look back on that now. I can't believe I hesitated for 1 second to do that. It paid for itself. And he even guaranteed it. He kind of did the same thing that Tim Sykes does now that I think of it. He guaranteed it. He said, this is either going to work or not. So let's do it. Anyway, my life changed forever after that. I was featured in the book Millionaire Traders in the mid-2000s after my first really big success trading. I went on to manage money as a commodities trading advisor. I managed $8 million for about 7 years in a commodities fund. That was okay. I never grew the fund much bigger than that. That's not really a big fund by Wall Street standards, but I got the experience of managing money and working with investors and whatever else. I wrote a series of my own books after that. I had a radio show on AM Business Talk Radio across the country. I was on for an hour before Dave Ramsey for 2 years. And Dave Ramsey he did not like me. He didn't like day traders. He's really sort of like a set in his ways kind of guy. And I really admire him, but he just didn't want anything to do with day traders. And I was really disappointed by that because I was like, man, we would get along really well. Anyway, I've been a trader for 23 years. I met Tim Sykes in 2007 at a Traders Expo. I was interviewing him for my podcast and we hit it off. We became fast friends. I remember I texted Tim the first night that I met him and I said, you said you wanted to go out tonight and hang out. He goes, I'm at a play with my mom. He took her to a show, a Cirque du Soleil. And I was like, this guy's with his mom in Las Vegas when he could just be out partying or whatever. I knew he was the kind of guy I wanted to be friends with, the kind of guy that could have a lot of fun with, but wasn't going to get you in a ton of trouble. Anyway, I ran that podcast and the radio show. I sold it a few years ago. I retired. And now all I do is I trade my own account and I work together with Tim Sykes inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge. And Tim invited me a few months ago to become like the live trading expert in the mornings in the Tim Sykes Challenge. And by the way, you're invited to trade with us if you say yes and if you want to be in the challenge. So let's talk about how to find the biggest stock moves. Let's talk about the two most important things when you're trading. And let me extend an invitation for you to trade with me. So you thought we were just going to talk about one stock, but there's so much more. Here's VTGN. So let's talk about the strategies that I've used successfully. Now, ordinarily, one of the primary systems that I trade with the members of the Tim Sykes Challenge is I trade a breakout from above the pre-market high. And the pre-market high on VTGN on this day in particular was almost $10 a share. But then recently, I pulled an indicator that I built 10 years off the shelf. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I had a little cough there. So I pulled an indicator off the shelf that I had built 10 years ago. I was on actually a radio show tour 10 years ago, and I was driving across the country, and I was literally staying overnight with listeners of the radio show, which sounds like that is just an invitation to get murdered. But it was actually so much fun. And I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I was sitting in the Old City Java House in south side of Knoxville, Tennessee, or whatever. And I built this indicator while drinking a cappuccino. And I will never forget it because the indicator has now turned into the dip and rip indicator. So my primary system is to wait for the breakout, number one. But what I discovered 10 years ago was a way to buy stocks a little bit early, but the stock market wasn't ready for it. Actually, not until August of this year. It took 10 years for the market to kind of line up with this trade alert. And now in the mornings, we don't just trade the breakout. We trade the run up also, and it is awesome. So, I mean, like, I got so lucky. Like, I'm so fortunate to have had, I don't know, just as much fun as we've had doing this in the mornings. TNGX was another trade that printed these indicators at the bottom of the screen. If you're wondering what this is an indicator that looks at a stock that ran up and then dipped, just like Yell that we looked at the very beginning of this presentation. Do you want the indicator? Do you want me to trade this with you every day? Because it's really special to me. I put a lot of time and money into this. Over the last 11 months, when I was pulling this back off the shelf and getting it to work, I can't believe how early this is signaling some trades in the morning. The very best ones happen in the mornings, and I can show you how to use these. Now, keep in mind, in order to trade successfully, you only need to do two things. Find the right stock and trade it the right way. And the fastest way to do that is to get a mentor. You need someone to give you feedback every time you trade. And you can watch for those trades with me if you want. So I'm so glad you're here. I know what it's like to want to have a better life for you and your family, and trading might be the answer. I want you to be successful. That's the reason I'm here. If you're ready, let me know you're excited and ready, because I know why you want to be a trader: for your family, for yourself, for a better life. But you're maybe missing some trades, or maybe you only find out about the big movers after they're done. Or you might be brand new to trading, just starting out, and you want to learn what to do now, and you want the information in the simplest and easiest form possible from someone who's already done it. Or maybe you're making some of the same mistakes over and over, and you wonder, hey, is trading even a real path to wealth? Well, successful trading is just about walking a path. Once you get on that path, as long as you're walking alongside someone that's already walked that path before, you can lean on their confidence. They know the way. So I'm going to share some lessons from my career as a trader. Then we're going to look at some stocks together for tomorrow, and I'm going to invite you to trade together with me and Tim Sykes every single day. This is how to get rich trading stocks with me, Rob Booker. Number 5, trade a proven system. Stop trading unproven methods. Like, stop following traders blindly. Get a strategy from a trader who's made millions of dollars and who's willing to share it with you and teach it to you. And some of us who have made money in the stock market, we love working with traders. Most people who make a lot of money in the stock market, they don't want to be bothered. So Tim Grattani of $18 million, he doesn't do a lot of teaching, for example, right? Okay, so he's at a point in his life where that's not really what he wants to do. But some of us, like Jack Kellogg or me or Matt Monaco, we love talking to traders. And in fact, when I talk to you about the markets and I trade with you live, I stick to my rules. So it's really great. So number 4, you want to buy strong stocks when they're ready to jump. So what we do is we wait for a stock to prove that it's going to jump up. And then it does that. It falls back lower and we buy the dip. And we follow the flow rather than try to predict it. So I built a scan that shows me sweet poppers, these stocks that are jumping up. That gets me prepared to trade these when they take their next move. TNGX was a perfect example of this. It had moved up a couple of days before, and then it dropped lower, and then it printed the dip and rip indicator, and then it shot up like a rocket. If you want to get on a rocket ship and save planet Earth with Bruce Willis in a big movie, you got to get on the rocket ship before it takes off. That's what the dip and rip indicator does. It tells us, hey, the rocket's going to take off soon. Do you want to get on the rocket ship and save the planet? That's kind of what this does. That's the movie equivalent of this indicator. So today, so far, this was yesterday, actually. I'm so sorry. This was yesterday. I didn't actually do a lot of trading today. This is yesterday. I apologize. I usually just take more trades, but today just got really busy. So I worked with the team today, and I traded with the team in a webinar, but I really didn't take any. I just sort of watched the market together with them. So yesterday was a $608 day. We traded Verb, VERB, on the move. So I try to show my live account every single time we do this. Do you want to do this with me? If you want to do this with me, you got to learn to cut your losses fast, and you got to learn to take the best trades at the best time. And sometimes the best time of day is the most convenient time for you. Yep, that's what I said. Sometimes the best time of day to trade is the time of day that's actually the most convenient. You can actually trade before the market opens, before you go to work or take the kids to school or whatever else you got going on. But you can actually also trade it after it closes. Did you know you can do that? There's a pre-market session that starts at 4 a.m., as I mentioned earlier, but there's also a post-market session that starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time and ends at 8 p.m. Eastern time. When the stock market bell rings and the market closes, quote unquote, an electronic trading session starts. It's called the after-hours session. Everyone can trade it. Even small accounts, big accounts, doesn't really matter. And some of the best traders in the world are putting their money to work after the stock market officially closes. You can trade with any broker after hours. Robinhood, Webull, Tastyworks, all of them. E-Trade, all of them. You can actually still place trades all the way up until 8 p.m. Eastern time. It doesn't cost anything extra. It doesn't require a gigantic trading account. And you can hold these trades overnight if you're subject to the pattern day trader rule. It's pretty wild. And some of the cleanest, biggest moves happen after hours. Now, tonight in this presentation, I'm not going to make any claims about how much money you can make. I'm not going to get into something like, oh my gosh, this is that you're going to make. I'm not going to say any of that stuff because I don't really know. If you want to work together with me, I'll guarantee you that we'll find these trades. But I got to get to know you better. So instead of all the hype and the salesy stuff where I'm going to tell you about all the money you could possibly make, I just want to say these are some of the cleanest and most effortless moves I've ever seen. And I'd love to trade these with you. So VVPR didn't move anywhere all day long. Like no one even thought about trading this. It showed up on my scan. And then in the after hours session, when most people are like, yeah, I got some time later in the day, it popped off. It ran 47%. No, actually, this one was like 80% after hours, or TRKA. So the fastest way to do all of these things and get to know how to do them really well is to get a mentor. It doesn't have to be me. Like, listen, it's fine if it's not. I just want you to trade a proven system. I'd love it to be me. Don't get me wrong. And I know a handful of millionaire traders. For the podcast and the radio show, I interviewed over 50 retail home-based millionaire traders. Every one of them had a mentor. Every single one of them. Everyone that you see on the stage at a Tim Sykes conference, every millionaire trader that you see was mentored either by Tim Sykes or by another trader that was a millionaire. Like, the best traders in the world learned how to trade from other people, all of them. So everybody you see on the stage from every walk of life, young people. I'm the oldest person on that stage, by the way. I'm 52. I'm not that old. But, listen, I mean, from all walks of life, retired people, people with full-time jobs, student age people, people raising a family, single parents. So anyway, the trading family inside the Tim Sykes Challenge is truly amazing. And I'm glad you're here. I know what it's like to want to have a better life for you and your family, just like I said. And trading might be the answer. And think about the American dream, right? Work that 9-to-5 job, get a promotion, save your money, celebrate the holidays, mow the lawn, raise the kids, go to church. Everything's going to be all right. Is it truly possible to become a millionaire from that? I don't know anymore. I mean, I can't promise I have the answer, but I think the American dream is kind of over, right? Nobody's going to become a millionaire saving up every year at a full-time job. Did you know that if you save $10,000 a year, even if it compounds, it takes you about 78 years to become a millionaire? Do you have until 2103 to become a millionaire? Or did you start saving $10,000 a year in 1945 before the end of World War II? No, of course not. If you don't feel like you have that much time, I'm going to encourage you to do one thing and one thing only. The next logical and completely free step. There's a link in the chat box right now, and it says RobbieBooker.com/challenge. That link will take you to a page where you can book a call. And if you're here on the evening of September 6th, there are still spots available. I'd love to work with you. Tim Sykes would love to work with you. The first step in the process is to just do a free call and build a trading plan on that call. And then ask some questions about your trading and say, hey, listen, am I a good fit for this? All right. So I can't promise I have the answers, but I can promise that I can help you out. I do know a path. It's a path that some of us have traveled. I can show you the way. I only need to know the answer to one question. Are you committed to doing whatever it takes? Let me know in the chat box. So with that established, I'm going to tell you about an extraordinary trader, and I'm going to invite you to learn exactly how he did it. This is Tim Sykes. Tim Sykes is the trader who turned $12,000 into $7 million. But he's then the trader who went on to teach other people how to do it. Trader number one is Tim Grattani, challenge member since 2015 at $18 million and counting. How did he do it? He learned a simple system and then he applied it. But then he got feedback on his trades from a millionaire mentor. And he was the second millionaire inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge. But he wanted to quit several times before he even reached his first $1 million. So the biggest lesson is never give up. So let's get to an exciting question here. What kind of millionaire trader are you? Are you a student? Are you retired? Are you raising a family? Do you have a small first account, little or no experience, but a desire to learn? Are you determined to win at trading, but you're maybe struggling to bring it all together? Well, here's the good news. If you want to be a trader, you only have to do two things right. Find the right stock and trade it the right way. The fact is that millionaire traders do ordinary things for an extraordinary amount of time. Millionaire traders just keep banking small, achievable gains over and over again. You simply have to decide that now is the time. So let's talk about why we're here. What's your goal this year for your trading? Is it income? Is it retirement? On December 31st of 2023, the end of this year, where are you going to be? Where do you want to celebrate? How's your family going to see you if you're starting to get the trading results that you want and deserve? What will your friends say about you? I know what your friends are going to say. They're going to say, how can I do that? So let's make a plan. Let's see if both of us can get exactly what we want before the end of the year. I'd like to work with two of you. Would you like to work together? Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to trade together every single morning. If that's okay with you, here's what we do. This is our trading routine inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge. I'm the leader of the morning trading group. I'll send out a watch list of stocks that could move. I join you in a live trading webinar. I set up the trades in my own account and show them on the screen. And we trade. And if you want, you can take the same trades or show me what you planned. We cash out and move on with the rest of our day. Now, the process for creating Millionaire Traders, and Tim has done it with 32 traders. You study the challenge curriculum. These are the lessons designed to teach you everything you need to know, the pattern, the routine, the habits. And you trade live with me and you implement what you've learned. So go here now. If you feel like now is the time to finally start getting results, if you feel like now is the time to get some feedback on where you might be going wrong with your trading and how you can improve, or where you might be going right, go to robbiebooker.com/challenge and book a call. The call's free. You're going to love the call. All that happens on the calls, you're going to talk to my associates, Rich, James, Thielman, Chase, and others, and they're going to build a trading plan with you, and you're going to be able to ask some questions. They're going to ask you questions like, all right, what are your goals? Like, what's your schedule like? Where can you fit trading into your day? This is what some of the millionaire traders like you have done. Here's what so-and-so did, and they're kind of exactly like you. It's a chance to finally take your spot. Now, if at the end of that call, you want to work together with me and Tim Sykes, then great. They're going to figure out a way for you to do that. They're going to figure out a way for you to get in the program. I don't know how that works. I just meet you here, and then I meet you again on the other side of that call. If you feel like now is the time, then go to the link. Go to robbiebooker.com/challenge, and let's do it. Imagine a typical day of trading together with me and Tim Sykes. You walk over to your computer in the morning, you check the daily watch list, you set the levels on your charts. We trade together. We talk about our open trades. It's awesome. I can't wait for you to meet everybody. And every 60 days or less, I invite you to come out to my office. And we trade live together, 30 students there at a time. You get in-person help, and we get you back on track if you're struggling. And we eat together, we plan together, we set goals together. And all of this is free and included when you're in the challenge. So traders come out to my office about 4 times a year, sometimes 5 times a year. And we just love working together. In January, so many traders RSVP'd that I booked the ballroom at the Westin Galleria in Houston, Texas, and we had 100 traders come out. I flew in a millionaire options trader, a millionaire real estate investor, and some of my top friends from the challenge program, and we just had a 2-day seminar, and it was awesome. And it was free. Tim Sykes and I want you to become the next millionaire trader student. And we've opened up the challenge to 2 to 3 of you who are here today. So you're invited to trade with me. You come on board, you'll trade with me every day. You'll actually get access to ask questions in live webinars with other millionaire traders like Matt Monaco, $2 million, Bryce Tuohy, $1 million, Jack Kellogg, $12 million, and so on. So I've posted a link inside the chat box, robbiebooker.com/challenge. And you can schedule a time to talk to us if you want to finally get it right. And if doing this free call opened the opportunity to work together, would it be worth it? I can help you get started today. Are you ready? All right. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a moment to click that link, and I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Here we go. Eric said he'll be the oldest when he gets on the stage as a millionaire. Kent, you're looking for the alerts. Kent, we got you, man. The team is here. We got your info. We're going to send that out to you. All right. How do you trade after hours with Tasty Trade? So you use a limit order in with time. Instead of good till canceled or day, you go extended, EXT, Dave. It's pretty easy. Denny says, I want you to be my mentor. I'd love to be your mentor. That'd be great. So Marianne says, do you have to get permission from your broker to trade the post-market session? No, you don't need to get permission from them. Isn't that nice? Are any of you just tired of asking for permission for stuff? You don't have to ask for any permission. So Marianne says, so is this with you or Tim Sykes or both? It's with both of us. Now, you would trade every single morning with me, and you would meet a couple of times a week with Tim Sykes and other millionaire traders also. There we go. Excellent. Folks, we're going to look at a couple of live charts here, and then we're going to get on our way. So ART, hey, look at this one. Dip and rip indicator down here. Bada boom. All right, this may bounce. Watch for this one to bounce tomorrow morning. So I talked to you about the dip and rip. It ripped higher today and then dipped. It may print an indicator and jump higher tomorrow. So I want you to watch for a move above $3.37. NBSE was a rocket ship today. It ripped higher and then it dipped lower in the afternoon and the after hours session. Watch for this to jump back up over, I would say, I would wait for it to jump back over $2.32 tomorrow morning. That would be a reasonable trade. So a lot of you are asking about after hours trading. Totally and completely, 100%. Every single broker, Tastyworks, Thinkorswim, Webull, Robinhood, all of them, they all let you trade after hours. You need to contact your broker and ask them, how do I execute trades after hours? Or get your buns into the challenge and I'll teach you how to do it. Now, if you're already a member of the Tim Sykes Challenge, our friend Ellis is here. Ellis, if you're already in the challenge, you go to your members portal. So alerts.timothysykes.com, you log in, and right here on the side of the page, Booker AM Club, click on that link. Now, if that doesn't appear inside your challenge materials, here's what you do. You click the link in the chat box and you book a call and you say, I want to get access to Rob's stuff inside the challenge. That's all you got to do. Trader says, what is the best broker to use? Webull is great. If you're just starting out, Webull is amazing. Interactive Brokers is great if you're outside the United States. Those are two, there you go. Trader Mixel says, where are we supposed to meet with our mentor coach? Well, you would meet with me every single morning inside of the webinar, Trader. Trader Mixel, so you would go to the Rob Booker AM Club here. You would go through all of the materials. You would answer a few questions and say, I'm going to be a contributing member. I'm going to be helpful and positive and whatever else. And then you get the webinar link, and then we trade together every single morning from that Zoom webinar link. So Alex says, what's the difference between Stocks to Trade and the Tim Sykes Challenge? Stocks to Trade is the world's premier software for analyzing, setting up, and even taking trades. It's software. It's the world's best analysis tool for finding the trades, scanning for great stocks, breaking down the market, seeing breaking news, and so much more. It's a software package. The Tim Sykes Challenge is the world's premier mentorship program, an educational program for teaching traders the same strategies that helped Tim Sykes turn $12,000 into $7 million and helped other traders do the same. So the Stocks to Trade is the software, and the challenge is the educational program. I say mentorship, but what I'm talking about is having millionaire traders helping you get answers to your questions and showing you their trading as they do it. So Marianne says, what website do you go? What website? AM Club. Hi, Marianne. So I'm so happy to answer your question. So Marianne, first things first, you go to the website for the Tim Sykes Challenge. So if you're already a member, Marianne, I'm going to send you a link. And you go to this site and you log in, and then you see my name on the left-hand side of the page. That's where you'll go. Now, if you're not in the Tim Sykes Challenge yet, you book that call. You go to robbiebooker.com/challenge. That's the link that's inside of the chat box now. And you book a time to speak to the team, and you see if maybe it's a good fit for you. Well, we've said it all. It's almost 8 p.m. So we've been here for an hour. It seemed like that time went by so fast. I look forward to working together with you in the Tim Sykes Challenge. Do the call. Talk to him. See if you can make a trading plan. And if it feels like the right thing to do, then tell him you want to work together with me and Tim Sykes in the challenge. And you'll be in my morning trading webinar in no time. I'll see you there, my friends. See you on the other side. Bye for now.